Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. This is the Apex Online Racing Podcast to GT3 PC Elite League for Season 9, Round 10, the grand finale here at Fuji. My name is King-Kodiak and I'll be one of your commentators throughout this evening's race. Joining me in the commentary box once again is the man, the legend, the god, that is Fizzy.
Yes, hello KK, nice to have you back, and hello to everyone who is watching the final race of the season. It's, I think we always say this at the end of GT3 seasons in AOR. It's flown by, and I can't believe you're here already.
Indeed, indeed. Now, I've tried to alter a few settings stream side to hopefully improve the stream. Unfortunately, one thing I sadly have not been able to improve is sound. It was rather highlighted to me that particularly when it comes to my co-commentators, that the sound quality isn't quite up to scratch. Not a lot, unfortunately, I can do about it. I have tried, but unfortunately I don't have the greatest rig in the world. So it is what it is, I'm afraid. But let us...
So basically, when people complain about my microphone in the chat, which they occasionally do,
it's not his fault.
It's actually not that bad. If you watched last week, right? It's you can see the difference, but that's how it is. We can't do much.
Completely so. Right, so the drivers are not wasting too much time in getting out on track. We are looking at Jardier, our current championship leader, but not by a massive amount, certainly not by an unassailable amount. If he has another disastrous week, that lead of his could well be in jeopardy, but we will see what he is able to do here in Fuji as he starts his time lap. There is the man that is challenging him, Popsu, just 29.5 points down. It is a target he can get, but he would have to finish 13. Jardier would have to finish outside of the top 13 for Popsu to be in with a shot, and that's quite a tall order, but not impossible, as we saw last week in Bathurst.
Yeah, exactly. Last week we saw Jardier's first major mistake of the season, and you never know. Bathurst probably a slightly more difficult track. Well, this is also a difficult track, but it's Bathurst have the walls quite a bit closer, so he's have a big crash. But you never know. If Jardier has another big problem, then Popsu might just be able to take advantage. Of course, Popsu really needs to win the race. Same with Tijni, who's 33.5 points behind. Both of them, if they want to have any chance, basically need to win the race, and they just hope that Jardier has some kind of problem.
Indeed. Speaking of which, there is Tijni, who stole that absolutely incredible win in, where was it? Zolder. A very, very, very wet finish to Zolder, and with a very tactical lack of pit stop fight, Tijni, and just hanging on with everything he had left to take that win. I was quite excited to watch that one. I think it was quite clear, because I really was screaming like a lunatic when he came over the line, but it was quite amazing to see. Popsu gets the current pole time, 1:37.3. Now, I did join the drivers on track for a bit of a practice run around the circuit. It's not one I'm familiar with, and it is very, very challenging, this particular circuit. Just the nature of where the heavy braking zones are, and how some of the bends continue to tighten as they're going through it, makes this very, very tricky. Jardier gets on the top spot with that 1:37.03 test, just shy ahead of Popsu. We are looking at it, the second of the Tiger Ferraris, Mr. Van Ommen, currently 19th, so without a lap on the board. 21 drivers join us for the grand finale this evening. Van Ommen is coming around that last turn to start his time lap, and riding on board then with the Tiger Colored Ferrari. The line is a very long way away from that final turn, so that is going to be crucial for the drivers to get right, and 3 people have yet to set a time. And there it is.
This straight just keeps going.
It does, yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah. Van Ommen did get a time on the board, 1:51.3, but I think it's fair to say that he had a bit of trouble on that particular lap. Through turn 1, then through the right-hand kink of 2, keeping over to the right-hand side, and then it is a slightly awkward and slightly blind apex. You see how he threw the car in and got the tail to stick. This corner, there's about 300 different ways of taking this corner. There's a double apex right-hander, 4 and 5 are in this, and it does get gradually tighter. So Van Ommen's gone for a later apex to stay over to the left-hand side. Now throws it into turn 6, but leads straight into 7. 7's near non-existent. And flat out through 8, the longest with the exception of the back straight. This is the longest time they're on the throttle for. Now, very heavy braking zone into first gear for turn 10. That's how very tight it is, and we can expect to see people throwing it down that escape road at least once during the lap, or during the race, I should say. Turn 13, and this also gets quite tricky because this is another double apex left-hander uphill off camber and whilst braking as well. It's very easy to just completely lose the balance of the car through 15 now, through 16, and Van Olmen had the Lamborghini in his way that has pulled over. So it's onto the long straight. We have to wait for quite some time before we know what Van Olmen's time is. Still waiting. He's chasing one of the Ferraris down the road, and it's amazing. You think, oh, there it is, nope, there it is, nope, and it's that gantry there, and that puts Mr. Van Olmen in 6th position with a 1:38.1.
Wow. Well, that's it's nice lap guide there. I'm also not too familiar with this track. Obviously, it was on the F1 calendar 2 times in the past, but what's happened?
That was an Audi facing the wall. I think it was Tijani because he suddenly appeared in the pits, and there he is, just coming out of it. So I suspect that was Tijani. There is Popsy then. He is just starting a time lap, I would think. Oh no, he is just...
Or ending a time lap.
Or ending it, yeah. Jump back to the pits then. Has got plenty of time, 7.5 minutes to go before the end of the qualifying session, and then we'll have a full rundown of where everybody is in the championship in between the qualifying and the race. Nesterovic in 5th, the second black Audi, 1:38.051. Just over a second behind Jardier. So it looks like the yellow Ferrari once again is on top form. And there was a little bit of a lock-up there by Nesterovic as he was coming into that very tight turn 10. Keeps it nice and steady. One of the Lamborghinis directly behind him. That's one of the Nissans directly ahead. I able to identify which one. I don't recognise the livery, so that might be a driver.
Oh, it might be Sansuke.
Yeah, that's right. I was just thinking that's someone that's joined us recently. I was trying to remember who it was. Oh, that's an unusual place to park your car. I suspect that's might be Fab Iceman
or Iceman. Yeah.
I think it was one of the two. That's their livery, I believe, on that Ferrari.
Yeah.
And does he improve? He still hasn't hit the line yet.
Oh my God!
There.
It's like 3 points down the straight. I think they got better last time.
Absolutely, and he didn't improve. Still 1:38.1, still in 5th. 1:38.0, still in 5th position.
Yeah, it's been pointed out to me, by the way, by Vernox, who's watching. I don't know why he's not racing, but he's watching. That you seem to have the wrong dimensions on the stream at the moment, so it's...
do I?
The 4x3 or whatever, how you have it. Yeah. Don't know if that's something you could change mid-stream, to be honest.
I don't know, but I'll have a look. It should be... yes, because that's one of the things I was trying to alter. Yeah, that's probably why that's ended up looking rather strange. Of course, that's ended up with borders on the because I don't have a 4x3 monitor. I don't think very many people do these days. I will see what I can do.
You do have a 4x3 monitor. You do not have a 16:9.
Well, I have a strange video app. I will see what I can do on that one.
Yeah. Right. So I'm currently watching a Bobby Jardier, and obviously the man who's he's not really under pressure because he's still. I think Jardier is still reasonably comfortable with the gap he has in the championship. He just knows that he needs to just have a normal race. He doesn't need to take too many risks. But at the moment, qualifying is going as he had hoped with a provisional pole, and he's coming towards the line. Well, there's one line that doesn't give you enough time, and here's the proper line, and he does not improve. I mean, quite a few people just not improving here in the second half of the qualifying so far. Seeming like they've set pretty solid banker laps, most of them.
Yeah, unfortunately that's not something I can change midstream, so we might have to just tolerate those black bars on the either side. I do apologise for that. It was something I was trying to alter to try and fix the sound issues, and inadvertently ended up changing the aspect ratio of the video output, so I'll hardly apologise. It isn't something I can correct without killing the stream, and as we're getting towards the race, certainly for the finale, it's not really something I want to do. So apologies there, ladies and gentlemen, but we will continue regardless.
Yep, at least you can still see what's happening on the track, so that's amazing.
Absolutely.
We're going to be watching Alexis, who is sort of the best of the rest, because as we've seen a few times, Jadier and Pops, who's a little bit in the class of their own in terms of times at the moment. And then you got Alexis, Tijni, Nesterovic, Nick Meadow, Andrex, Vilo, and several more just really close from third down, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, third and fourth are within a tenth, and then you've got fifth down to eighth that are in the next tenth. So that's we've got several kind of clusters of drivers that are very, very close, and Relo is not far off that third to eighth block either. Then Tex Wheeler, wow, in the Porsche, that's a decent effort there in 10th. There's Rick in 11th, Scarazal 12, Fab Iceman 13. This is, of course, currently. We still have two drivers that have yet to set a lap. That is Leon the sick one and Fab Iceman.
I know why that is.
Oh, are they
have
they're quali bans, yes.
One of the late repercussions from the investigation for track finish at Zolder.
Right.
They were serving their penalty now.
Oh, they weren't in last week, were they? I see.
But I mean, last time Leon tried to qualify in the Cadillac, he was last anyway. So.
he was. So I'm assuming Leon has reverted back to it, unless he's just decided to see the. Oh no, he's not allowed to, is he? He can't change
exactly.
again. So he is in the Cadillac, like it or not.
Here goes Van Omen.
Oh, Van Omen's been pushed down to 6th. Who's he been pushed down by? Oh, Nesterovic.
Both the Audis. Yeah, we got both the Audis now. Nesterovic and Tijani in 5th and 4th. And Alexi still holding the best of the rest spot there. And Jadier and Pops are still, neither of them are improving since their early laps. So 2 minutes to go. Will anyone make any strides here? Nesterovic coming towards the line now. Currently P5. He only needs 2 tenths to get P3, and he does not do it on this occasion. Meadows coming out of the pits.
What a stunning effort by Nick Meadow in the Nissan. Currently on the 7th spot.
Yeah, he was really fast last week as well, actually. At Bathurst, Nick Meadow was flying there as well. Of course, then Nick Meadow had to qualify by Bathurst, so he started on the back, but he made really good strides in the race. And on pace was probably like the 3rd fastest car or something throughout the race in general. So Nick Meadow finding something in this, and of course we are like in Bathurst. Fuji is a high altitude track, which does favour the turbo.
Oh, we have sorry, Vizzy. We have a new We have a new pole. We have a new Popsu. I think he said there, but yeah, Popsu. And Jadier's in the pits. He can't do anything about it. There's only a minute left. Wow, what a cracker! 136.8 by Popsu, dethroning the mighty Jadier from the top spot. And then there's 8 tenths between Jadier and Alexis. And then, the rest of the times you can see.
Yeah, fantastic effort there, to be honest. Popsu taking another pole this season. He's had a few already. Of course, Jadier has the most poles this season. I'm not sure exactly what the count is, but Popsu surely is the man who's taken the most poles from him in the races where Jadier has not gotten pole. So here's another one. Popsu really impressive. And of course, last week at Bathurst, Popsu was flying. He was faster than Jadier at Bathurst. That's the first time all season that Jadier was genuinely outpaced, and Popsu was the man to do it. So it'll be interesting to see how they are compared to each other this week.
Nick Meadow doesn't improve that time, but he does have time to complete this particular lap. 10 seconds before the flag comes down. So we will see. And Tijni, both of the Audis actually got over the line. Tijni in 4th. 137.9's got his teammate Nesterovic right behind him and on track and in time, and the checker flag is now out.
Nesterovic has a triangle next to his name. Is that because he's right behind Tijni? Do you still get the close triangles in qualifying? Okay.
Yes, you do.
let's just go on with Nesterovic. I wonder if this is some kind of slipstream tactics, because of course the straight is really long. My sort of impression from watching this season is that straight. Oh my goodness, that's not going to work then, because Tijni has lost it.
Yeah, and Nesterovic got all out of shape. That was Hardway we saw on the outside of the track. He is 19th and last of the qualifiers with that 39.9, so he will not improve this time around. Nesterovic is getting hard on the brakes for that turn 10, and that big snap of oversteer has probably already been the lap. We have through turns 4 and 5, and you see how the tail is really loose on Nesterowic's Audi. He's really throwing the nose in He's gone for an early initial apex and then just gone straight to try and get a decent cut onto that turn 15. I don't think he's going to gain you a great deal because you're back on the brakes for 16. And yep, he's going to pull over. Yeah, I figured he wasn't going to finish that. There is Nick Meadow. Will start no higher than 7th. Rilo in 9th. A fair effort from him. He's going to cross the line. Does he improve? He does not. Remains on 138, 192. Here's Rick. His day is done in 12th. Typek. Oh my goodness. That's quite a long way down. 15th. 138, 767 in the fellow TX3 Ferrari. He's coming towards the end of the lap, so we will see if he is able to improve.
Yeah, he's going slow, I think. I think he's slowed down. It doesn't look fast anyway to me. But I've made mistakes before. Let's see if he actually goes towards the line.
He looks like he's still going for it. So, I mean, for 15th, you would imagine that Typek, with where he's previously started, he tends to be more towards the sharper end of the midfield than that. And nope, he didn't get a chance to cross the line. So whether he was on a decent lap or not, we do not know. But there is the confirmed qualifying positions. Popsu, Jardier, Alexis, Tisney, Nesterovic, Van Almen, Nick Meadow, Andrex getting in 8th position of the red BMW. Relo 9 and Scarzal, who's not wearing his Ascara tag, interestingly, rounds out the top 10.
Has there been a drama there?
I wonder.
And yeah, so Taxi Wheeler with a decent spot, 11th there. Rick in the Lambo in 12th. Iceberg, Steve, Tapek, Oblitor, Cole McCoy to Desipack, Hardway, and then of course the 2 guys at the back with the qualifying pads. We did have 22 drivers in at some point in the session, but we're down to 21 again. So unfortunately it seems like someone's having a few problems. But
and Leon indeed is running the Cadillac. I do notice we are missing both of our AMG Mercedes. Doc and Domino are not with us as well, so I wonder if it was one of them that was having a problem. Right, whilst we are going through the 2-minute countdown to the start of the parade lap, let us have a final run-through of our entire grid, entire championship positions. So at the tail end of those on 0, we can see Sansuke, of course, he joined us very late. Nutella, Perry, Grantra, Hardway, and Leon. Leon, of course, changing car. That's what reset his score. Then 30 to 21, we have MTZ, Poppleton, Domino, with that mid-season change, dropping his points down. And then he's built up 14. Synthicana, McCoy, Rigor, Noah, Iceberg, Mark Bruenzi, what could have been for the Lamborghini there in 23rd. Mickersby and Rick rounding out those particular positions. Switching to the next image in line. 20th through 11th, that's at Yorkie. Steve, Oblator, Doc. So that just shows what the Mercedes was capable of. Rito, Tex Wheeler, Murphy. We haven't seen this DNS in a few weeks, and it would seem we're not going to see him today either. Typek, Adalexis, and Nick Meadow. Meadow seeming to show a late season charge, which is always good to see. And the sharp end of the driver positions, Vernux in 10th with Zal 9, 2 Desert 8, Nestero at 7, Van Almen 6, Andrex has been the consistent scorer for the BMWs in 5th position, Fab Iceman 4, Tisney 3, Popsy 2, and Jardier at the top of the board. Jets, only the top 3 are mathematically, I believe, capable of getting the championship, but it does still rely on Jardier having a pretty bad day in the office. So a quick look over our teams then. So the tail end of it, we have Visceral Sim Racing, Noah and Iceberg in the Z-Force with 55. Then 13th is Monster AMG Racing, Doc and Domino on 92. Then the Flying Fins, Tex Wheeler and Mixby. For those unfamiliar with the setup, no, you're not missing the start of the race, you're just missing the start of the parade lap, so we'll jump to that shortly. Rick and Oblator in Regret Lambo, always makes us laugh, in 11th position there with 121. And then we have a glorious Nippon Steel, that is Nick Meadow and Rigor, the 2 Nissan runners. They're in 10th position with the Audi German factory team, 2 Desert and MTZ. In 9th, 8 Prancing Horse Racing, and with that is Adalexis and Rilo, with 158 BMW, the sole BMW runner in that team. Andrex with 167, 2 points behind TNR, Top Notch Racing of Venox and Yorkie. The Scandinavians, Zal and Leon, 242, not helped by Leon's change of, still a very strange decision to change car. Nonchalant dominance, that's Fab Iceman and Steve in their Ferraris, 264. Third is Virtual Drivers by TX3, Popster and Typek with 320. GT8's Tidney and Nesterovic second there, 381. And out front is Jardier and Van Almen for Actrolovision Community Racing on 427.5.
Indeed. So, team championship, top 3 places, relatively set in stone, I would say, in terms of the gaps between those teams, unless one of the teams have sort of a double bad race here.
Oh, you're really kind of relying on like a snowstorm or a hurricane to suddenly appear for that team, for the teams that I think be shuffled around, but you never know.
There's a bit of snow up there in Mount Fuji, so
well, yes.
You never know. Get an avalanche down on track, maybe. In the Driver Championship, of course, as you mentioned earlier, Jadier needs to finish. If he finishes 13th or higher, then he wins the championship regardless of where Popsu and Tijni finishes. But also, of course, if Jadier does have that poor race and Popsu, like he is now, is in first place at the end, then you never know. It could well happen. I think most people would agree that Jadier deserves this championship, but it's not over until it's over, and Popsu has certainly done a really good job throughout the season to challenge it the best he can. Then, of course, 5th place, there's a bit of battling for 5th. Andrex, Van Ormen, Nesterovic, Tudesa Baxal, maybe Dark Horses there as well, so I'm sure the drivers throughout the field will be eager to fight for any points they can get. That's when I come in towards the start.
Here we go then. So for those unfamiliar with the setup, the drivers have formed the 2x2 line. They've done their parade lap, they've warmed up their tyres, warmed up their brakes, and at any moment now Popsu can floor it to signify the beginning of the race, although the start finish line is such a long way down this particular straight. It will feel like an A to just crawling along there at 80 kilometers an hour, but it's up to Popsu when he guns it, and Jadier is right with him. He's not wanting to let that blue Ferrari go, and they are away. Popsu has floored it. We are racing here in Fuji. Jadier gets straight into the slipstream of that blue Ferrari. He doesn't want to lose any ground whatsoever. On the left is the red Ferrari of Adalexis. Tijni is on the outside coming around turn 2 and gets a 3rd position. Very nice and clean move by the black Audi. He's going to want to charge after the leaders then. There you see, that is Nesterovic and Van Ormen side by side coming through turn 3. It's a difficult place to kind of keep the car settled, especially when the cars are this heavy and you're trying to cycle through the names as quickly as you can. That's a Typek there in 19th. Leon is...
No, Tijni's chancing Jadier! Oh my goodness, I thought he had the position there for a second, but Jadier defended it well.
And Leon's in the pits already. Leon, I think, has failed to start. Or just click on Leon's name. Is he actually stuck in the timing bug? I thought was just... Oh no, he's in the pits. Leon in the Cadillac has already had a problem. That is a great shame. So the timing bug was fixed. Oh, and there goes someone down the escape road exactly as I thought. It's Van Ormen. So he's falling through the field. Oh, big problem. We have a spin. It was one of the Porsches. Is that Tex Wheeler? It is indeed. He's now down at the back of the field. So a terrible start for him. Is that Alexis stuck right between the two Audis? That's he's going to find a very difficult fight there. There's no one kind of optimum line through a number of these corners, so we could be seeing a lot of different ways. Oh my goodness me! That's Andrex getting very close. He's already gained a position. I think with the misfortunes of others, he is nailed to the back of that Nissan of Nick Meadow. Lots of action as we'd like to see here in the Elite League.
And here comes the move for the lead, potentially. Popsu is really defending the inside now into turn 1, starting the second lap of the race. Jadier has the momentum with the slipstream on the outside, but Popsu, if he can hold his line, should be able to defend it. And down the hill he goes, and still in the lead for Popsu, but he's having to work for it here immediately in the race, as Alexis as well has made a move back on Tijni. And is that Nesterovic coming through on his teammate as well? He's certainly trying. I think he's up to 4th at the moment, and is indeed. So Tijni, after that great start, has dropped 2 positions going down that straight.
Alexis was trying to defend against both of the Audis at the same time. It's hard enough to defend against either of them all. Nick Meadow and the Nissan into the braking zone of turn 6. Very nicely done. He hasn't given up on the move. Andrex is waiting to pick up the pieces if it does go wrong. He's already broken away from Rita. It's about 6/10 between the red BMW and the Ferrari. And yet again, that's Nesterovic. Oh my goodness me, could both black Audis have a go with the Ferrari? No, not quite. Nesterovic has managed to slip through. Jadier is still nailed to the back of Popsu, so they're not able to break away too badly. Ooh, that's Alexis not wanting to lose any ground on that black Audi. Oh, you've just seen Leon in the Cadillac just go through the shot. Oh, that's a little bit close, but Nesterovic going for that wider line through that very slow turn 15. There's Andrex challenging Nick Meter as well. And Alexis doing his best to defend against Nesterovic. Has managed to keep... Oh, big problem further back as one of the red Ferraris is Relo. Relo's falling to the field. That was a massive impact he had with someone. He's trying to get out of the way. Oh my goodness me, that was close with Typic there. Nesterovic trying a move on at Alexis. He wants that third position back again. He's now got the inside, and also that is... Goodness, oh, who's else going to pit? Oh, Colonel McCoy. That was who had that big impact with Relo. Colonel McCoy is in the pits, then he's going to be there a while. Popsu is fighting off Jardier there in the background. Look at this. 5 cars all scrapping for that same bit of tarmac. And that is very close.
I don't know what to look at.
I know, it's impossible. There's so much fighting going on at the sharp end of the field. Nesterovic now up to third with Alexis in very short succession. And there's Andres trying to get on the inside and Nick Meadow as well.
Oh my goodness, this is crazy start to this race. Absolutely have no clue where to look at the moment. I don't want to miss a move for the lead potentially, but Popsicle seems to have gotten a couple of tenths back at this lap, and now Alexis under much pressure from Tisney, who wants that 4th place back. He's going to have the inside line in the braking zone where he was so tight on the previous lap, and Alexis on the outside. Oh, he closed the door on him completely on the apex, and then there's a bit of a domino effect going back there with Nick Meadow and Andrex getting close as well. Man, this 5-way group is just ridiculous at the moment, and then of course you've got the top 2 as well. Super, because I'm sure there's similar stuff going on further down the field as well, but you just have no time to look at it.
No, we tend to find that it is impossible to look absolutely everywhere in these early stages of the race. You've got to think the cars are at their heaviest. There's Iceman side by side with side by side with Zal. That's a lot of zzz in there. So. That's where are they?
Start that it's been for Iceman then. He started at the back of the field with his qualifying ban. He's passed over
wow.
The grid already.
What a belter then for the red Ferrari. So not going so well for his teammate. We saw Relo having that big spin. Potsy defending yet again against Jardier. The slipstream isn't too powerful here. They don't tend to run a lot of wings. Well, this is the impression I was getting from when I was talking to the drivers earlier in the week, as there's not a lot of high-speed corners here. You've got that very long turn 4 and 5, absolutely true, but you've got so many small corners that the downforce is just rendered ineffective. So, and the straight, because it's so long, having skinny wings can really help you there. Having more downforce is going to hurt more so on that straight than you'll gain in the faster corners rather. So that's going to mean the slipstream effect is not so powerful, and I think it's probably why Jardier is really struggling to get past Popsu at the moment.
Yeah, based on these first 2 laps, this track just seems brilliant for these GT3 cars, to be honest. Some of the braking zones for the corners seem to have quite wide braking. There's a few different lines you can take through most of the corners, and then of course the long straights. So I was going to say earlier in qualifying that the impression I've gotten throughout the season is that the slipstream isn't too powerful, really, in these cars, whether it's the cars or the game. But on this straight, they seem to be getting the run quite often. Let's see, Jardier now nearly 5 tenths back. That's the furthest back he's been, I think. But let's see if he will still get a run here.
Indeed, we've already lost Sansuke. Once again, our newcomer has come a cropper on this very, very difficult track. We've seen already the carnage that has happened, so it's a shame for him. It's not the way he would have wanted to finish the season, I'm sure, but glad for your... we've lost one of our black Audis. Where has... No, we've gone to Nesterovic, then where for... he's down in 14th! Tidney's down in 14th. Oblator and that was Oblator and Steve that came together there. The Lamborghini get very loose on the exit of turn 1 and collected the Ferrari as he was coming around. He's lost that position to Tidney. So the Black Audis had a terrible run somewhere. Iceberg switched to the Renault.
I forgot to mention that. Yeah, Iceberg's dropped his points in the championship. I think he had about 24 or something, and he's now in the Renault for the final race of the season. Which is interesting, as we got Steve now side by side with Tidney, who's trying to make his way back through the field, and Tidney seems to have gotten that move relatively done, especially considering the next corner is a right-hander, which is good for him.
Yeah, both Tidney and Relo are out of position. We saw that red Ferrari have that spin early on, and Tidney has had an incident that we didn't immediately spot. There's battling going on everywhere, so it's very easy to miss. So everyone now settling into their rhythms, but it's very clear to see how difficult this track is. I did give it a few laps as well myself, and I struggled with the GT3 cars at the best of times, but this is such a demanding track. And as the drivers were informing me, there's so many different ways of taking these corners. They're pretty wide, so there's so many different ways of taking the corners that if you are in if you're in someone's slipstream, if you're underneath someone's rear wing, there are options for you, unlike some tracks where if you're stuck behind someone, you are stuck there until they make a mistake.
Yeah, very true. Here comes Nick Meadow. He's up to 4th place now. Oh no, never mind. He was trying to get up to 4th place, but Nesterovic has defended that. So Nesterovic now the main Audi remaining in the race, at least until Tijani potentially makes his way back through. Yeah, I must say it's very impressive from the Audis to be this high up in the field. Because the high altitude track does favour the turbo powered cars. It's not quite as high altitude as it was at Bathurst, so the difference won't be as big, I think. But still, the Audi with a naturally aspirated engine will be at a slight power disadvantage. So that just makes it even more impressive that they're doing so well.
Yeah, that Nissan is really hounding. I was really impressed to see that. But not at all suggesting Nick Meadow is a slow driver. We know he's not. And that's Fab Iceman, I think, going a little bit too deep into turn 10, which again is so easy to do. That's a slightly unusual line there by Van Almen. That's no doubt caused him a slowdown penalty there. The reason why turn 10 is so difficult is you've come off as turn 7, 8, 9, which are all flat out, and it's a first gear corner or near as damn it, so you are braking very, very hard, and you're then into the braking zone and off camber turn of turn 15 as Iceman gets a lovely run through turn 16, initially challenging the BMW of Andrex for that position. Popsu yet again side by side with Jardier. He holds onto the inside line. Jardier, we know how good he is at following a move through, but
Popsu left the room there. He left a bit too much room potentially. Here we go.
Bit of a nudge. And Jardier actually falls behind, but that made Popsu go very deep. And
oh my goodness me, who's going to get this?
Oh, that's a very long corner of which Popsu has the inside line. But Jardier is going to be able to maintain the momentum, and he's gone through into the lead before they get to turn 6. Very nicely done once more by the yellow Ferrari, but still a long way to go. 46 minutes indeed. So anything can happen on this tricky circuit.
Round the outside of 4 and 5. Wow, that's a move.
Oh,
Popsu's trying to get it straight back. Oh, Jardier leaving the room there. And this is an awkward chicane. It's just based on how it looks anyway to drive through. And Popsu very nearly making that work. Oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Popsu might be thinking of the other battles he's had with Jardier earlier in the season, where Jardier, when he's made the move for the lead, Popsu doesn't manage to get back through. Jardier has then the pace to pull away. Of course, now Popsu did take pole in qualifying, so he might be a little bit more confident here, but he definitely wants to get back past Jardier as quickly as possible to not allow him the opportunity to pull away.
I think Popsu's running a little bit more wing than Jardier. It's always along the start-finish straight. It's always into turn 1 where we saw Jardier putting the most pressure on, and Popsu was nailed to the back of the yellow Ferrari. So I don't think Popsu's going to have an answer quite yet, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if he is running more wing. He's going to reel him right back in and just keep pressuring it through all the corners, and Jardier is going to have a lot of work if that is indeed the case. Nesterovic defending yet again against Nick Meadow, trying for an outside move into turn 1. He's got the momentum. Can he keep it there? No, he has the door shut in his face. Well defended, firm but fair there by the 5 Aces driver. There in the background you see that is Andrex that's got all kinds of company back there. Nick Meadow is doing really well. Oh, that's Leon's Cadillac that's jumping very much to the outside and getting relatively out of the way. He's not wanting to disturb anybody's race. I still wonder what on earth possessed him to win all those points he had in the Ferrari and switch over to the Cadillac. Well, that's adding challenge for you, I suppose. Meadow didn't get a great run through those last 2 turns. Nesterovic had a cracking run coming through 8, 9 and 10. And we'll see if he's able to keep Nick Meadow behind him through the next few turns. There is Andrex, Van Almen and Fab Iceman. The BMW doing a pretty good job keeping those Ferraris behind. Andrex up a couple of positions from his start and still not too far behind the Nissan, so still plenty of prizes for Andrex to go for. And I thought he was going a little bit deeper. Oh dear!
Goodness!
I glanced away just for a second and
Avoid him! Don't move!
He's stalled! He's stalled!
No,
Get it going again!
Yeah, I think it's just, I mean, it's always very scary to start moving. Even if you're kind of moving in the direction of the racing line, some of the cars behind might just have a last-minute decision to go on the other side where you might have expected them. So if you move your car when you're stationary in the middle of the track, it can cause an accident. I think he's done the right choice there just to make sure it didn't get hit.
And he
he
was sat there screaming the same as you. Don't hit me! Don't hit me! I'm absolutely certain. And that is exactly why. That was exactly what I kept doing at that very same point. Again, because you're trying to brake, turn, and it's off camber. It's so easy to do. And I doubt it's going to be the last spin we see in that particular complex. Van Ommen then trying to fend Rilo off as he's getting back into his rhythm. Down there in 13th position. That's a long way down. Jardier has opened up a little bit of a gap between himself and his main championship rival Popso. So now the yellow Ferrari beginning to get into his stride a bit. And I think if Popso has got a bit more wing, then I think that is going to hurt him a bit, to be honest. But we will see. We will see how their challenge continues. They're not able to. There's not too many fast corners, as mentioned, so the extra downforce is really not going to pay off. The extra drag is just going to hurt. But if anybody can challenge Jardier, as we've seen repeatedly through this season, it is, of course, Popso as they come around the final turn once more to complete lap 10.
Indeed, yeah. This is exactly what Popso did not want, to be honest, to have Jardier pull that little bit of a gap so that he can't challenge him back through the corners. Of course, you thought as well that Jardier running slightly lower downforce, which you can see here. Popso is getting a very, very tiny bit, but it's a matter of like half a tenth. That's not really much at all. So yeah, Jardier seems to be having the upper hand at the moment in terms of the pace. But you never know. Things can turn throughout the race, of course. These guys have got several things to think about. Not only the braking and the turning and the throttling, to worry about tyre wear and temperatures and all these kind of things as well.
Very true.
We will see. We're on the third of the way through. It's a long way to go.
A long way to go indeed. Of course, these two are the only pair in the 38s at the moment. Both of them 38.9. 38.922 by Jardier, 9.35 by Popso. So once again, very, very close and seemingly in a league of their own compared to the rest. But it is all about how you finish. That is the very crucial element, of course. Oh, Popso's getting a little bit. He's overdriving a little bit too much. Just touching the dirt there. Not exactly what he wants to do. They come through that awkward 13.3 to 15 section. Not sure just how the camera makes it look, but it does look like Pops is really fighting that Ferrari through that section. I think it's more down to how the game is making it look to us as opposed to how badly that car is fighting. But his Ferrari does seem much more twitchy than the yellow one ahead of him, and we've seen that numerous times before. And Alexis looks like he's managed to break away to the tune of about 3.5 seconds, give or take, from those behind him. Nick Meadows up to 4th. In the Nissan, he has managed to get ahead of Nesterowicz. He's having to defend, though. He's not taking that position for granted, as you can see. But that move was fairly inevitable, I think. We've seen Nick Meadows with an incredible turn of pace over the Audi in this race. So Nick Meadows really having a great day. Would that be his best result? I should have brought the champion. Oh, that's a little bit deep into turn 1. That would be Nick Meadows' best result if he finished here, would it not?
One second, Fabus Iceman has just gotten through Andrex there into turn 1 as well.
So what's happened to that? There were 3 in that pack when we last saw them. Was it Van Ommen? He's down in 13th.
Yeah, he does spun it.
He's spun it. He's down in 13th. But we just saw Andrex has just succumbed to the pressure of Fab Iceman, who's now got that red Ferrari through into 6th position. Zal, a little bit off the back of this, 3.3 seconds behind. Back up to the challenge then for 4th with Nick Meadows and Nesterowicz.
Nick Meadows, you are indeed correct. It would be his best result of the season. He has the 5th place, which is by far his best so far. His second best is the 10th. But 4th place would would improve on that. So I'm sure he's quite. If he cares about that at all, then I'm sure he will be quite eager to keep hold of this position.
Indeed, but he's got a lot of work to do for a very long time, as Nesterovic is looking for an inside manoeuvre. Oh my goodness me, into 16. He just needs to get a decent drive, and Nick Meadow does get exactly that to keep that black Audi behind. But once again, you see how early Nick Meadow goes for that defensive line as Rick gets his name on the penalty board in the Lamborghini in 10th position. And Tidgley is doing well. He's now up to 9th position after his earlier problems. So he's got there's still quite a few positions he can go for. Rick just behind him in the Lambo, and Zal next Ferrari in line. So that's both of them sitting 140s, 140.1 for Tidgley, 140.4 for Zal. So they come through turns 1 and 2. You can see just ahead of them, that is Andrex and Fab Iceman. We saw crossing swords earlier. Through turn 3, Disney had a bit of a faster line through there. Zal trying to hang on to the inside. Disney getting very close. Is he going to try for an inside manoeuvre at 6? He does not. He lost a little bit too much momentum there. And that put too much gap between himself and the yellow Ferrari. Through 7. Hard on the gas. Through turns 8 and 9. And yet again, that Ferrari getting a very good traction. Yet again. Heavy on the brakes, down to first gear for turn 10. Keep it settled. Oh, and that's exactly what Zal didn't do. He was a little bit greedy on the gas, kicked the tail out, but it didn't cost him too much. Tidgley is staying calm and collected now through 13, 14, 15. Awkward braking zone of 15. You can see how that yellow Ferrari is struggling. And oh, that's Leon. That's Leon in the Cadillac. I always think, oh, it's a car, and Popsu is a penalty. Popsu has got a penalty.
Oh, he's lost time as well. He's lost 7/10 or something on the lap. Yeah. Oh no, he's lost. He's not. Wait.
No,
the lap time says he's lost way more than that.
Yeah, he's lost quite a lot, nearly 2 full seconds actually. 1 point.
Not sure how he's done that, considering he's 1.6 seconds behind each other. But
well, he's lost what? 41. Yeah, unless Jardier's lost a chunk of time this lap as well. Wasn't the penalty? What penalty is he carrying then? It must be just a track extend then, so 1 or 2 seconds. 1 second, yeah. Same as
maybe the lap time counted the penalty as well. That could be. Yeah, Tidgley still over the back of Zal. Yeah, I think Popsu. He can't afford those kind of mistakes, can he?
Oh, Tidgley driving the inside of 6 again. Couldn't quite get the traction he needed when he needed it, but he's alongside Zal. He's going to now switch back, trying to get the inside for 10. Now heading downhill, heavy braking zone. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers? It's Zal. He manages to defend that line into that very hard chicane. That's bringing Rick in the Lamborghini right with him as well. There's this sole Renault of Iceman, is it Iceman? Yes, it is Iceman, Bacon.
Iceman is up in 6th actually. That's Iceberg.
Iceberg, yes.
I've got a couple of ice people in it.
It's because I'm not used to seeing. I'm not meaning to sound disingenuous, but you don't usually see Iceberg there. You usually see him towards the back of the green Z4s, and again Tidgley trying to get a decent drive out of turn 16, but there was a Ferrari in the way. He's going to try and get that slipstream again, and that Lambo is getting ever more present in his mirrors. So you can't just concentrate on the battle ahead.
Not really gaining on the straight line. This is the power disadvantage I'm talking about. Maybe he's got a bit of slipstream, but it's the straight line difference is just non-existent there.
Oh, he's gone deep. That was a lock-up into turn 1. It wasn't a great drive for Zal either. I think it was a bit of a lock-up there for Tidgley. Andrex has fallen off the back of Fab Iceman, unfortunately. I'm sure Iceberg is ruining the decision to go with the Z4s. Earlier in the season, as he's having a cracking run here in the Renault. Yeah, he's really keeping pace with those around him. And it's Tidgley again, trying an outside manoeuvre through 6. Oh, he's had a good drive though. He's going to get the inside for 7. Oh, and the door gets slammed in his face. He's had a good run though. That's 8 and 9. He's side by side again. He's going to try another late breaking move into 10. He's ahead. He's got it done this time, but can he keep it through 11? Yes, he can. That is 8th position to Tidgley. but he's still got to defend from the charging Ferrari. Oh, he left the door open. Zal's stuck his nose straight in there. You see how wide the Audi had to go for 13, but it's actually allowed him to keep the momentum through 14 and keep the position into 15. Very nice. And now that's actually put Zal straight into the clutches of Rick. So this is a great opportunity for Tijani to start to get some distance between himself and that Ferrari he's been chasing for so long.
Yeah, this what I was saying with some of the corners attacking very different lines. You can see a prime example out there. Zal and Tijani do completely different racing lines through those corners, and yeah, it's a bit of a switchback attempt from both of them really. And in the end, Tijani won out here. Though comes Zal into the slipstream, and with that turbo-powered Ferrari, the Lambo is closely following as well. Rick just behind him. Zal tried to outbrake Tijani on the outside. Oh, he's very unstable in the corner there. And Tijani keeps that position. Now Tijani really needs to use his corners to try and pull a bit of a gap, because he doesn't want to try to defend down into turn one every lap. Yeah, I'm sure Tijani, considering where he was earlier in the race, he will want to start focusing on trying to catch Andrex instead. So let's see how Tijani navigates his middle part.
Indeed, and there you can see Iceberg in the Renault. He's closing in on this particular trio. So there he is in sole Renault. I believe Renault is actually winning in the Pro Tier. I think there's a Pro Tier where the Renault is actually doing very, very well, yes.
Wow.
So
yeah, I mean, we haven't had a Renault in this, in the Elite League all season.
Yes, indeed.
For the final race, but yeah, very interesting. And yeah, as you said, Iceberg is doing well in it, so it can't be that bad a car.
Absolutely. And coming through then, 13 through 15 once more. There's Andrex just disappearing out of the shot. He's rather minding his own business, but I think he runs the danger of this particular train catching him. As they come through the final turn once more, and Rick is really close to that yellow Ferrari. And there you go again. Zal is also trying to copy Tijani as far as the line taken, but of course he is wanting to put the defensive move on the Lamborghini, streaming out to turn one, and look how they're reeling in the black Audi. He's going to have to defend again. He's gone to the racing line, but the Lamborghini's having a big old look on the outside. The yellow Ferrari tried to defend the inside line. He's gone too deep, and the Lambo just couldn't get alongside. Zal is still there. He's going to have the inside line for turn 3, and he remains in the position. Rick's going to have to try again, but that has cost Zal time on the black Audi once more.
Wow, yeah. Great battling, and yeah, it was all started by Zal just running a little bit deep into the first corner. Rick sort of seeing it coming and taking a cutback line to get the run, but he still has to find another way through. It's nice to see Rick up there to be honest in the top 10 again. He was up there, of course, a few times in the earlier races of the season. We haven't really seen him too much in the second half of the season. He's, of course, missed 2 of those races as well. But yeah, it's certainly nice to see that Rainbow Lambo back in fighting for good points.
Yeah, it's a shame the Lambos haven't fared too well in the season by and large. This is a bit of a shame. It has been run and ruled by the Ferraris, but a decent smattering of representations by the Audis and the BMWs as well. So it hasn't all been just, oh my goodness me, it hasn't all been prancing horse. I think we've just lost somebody. Let's have a quick look. Oh yeah, we're down a few actually. Yeah, Leon's gone. Hope we're not. I hope they didn't all go at once. I hope we're not seeing a mass disconnect here.
Yeah.
Literally just on the halfway point. Oh, that Ferrari's really got the pace on the Audi once more.
Oh, he's grabbed the inside as well. That was crucial. I think Tijani was defending, but he wasn't defending hard enough, clearly, because he's left that inside line open, but it's so much later on the brakes. Ah, wow. What a...
Wow. Yeah, Zal's been really struggling on the brakes in that Ferrari. We've seen several times into that turn 1. And that was a great move by Tijani to hang on to that position. And that's given Zal a decent amount of braking, decent, comparatively so, amount of breathing space between himself and the Lamborghini. So that could help in just keeping the pressure on the black Audi. But again, not too far away. And just getting ever so slightly closer each lap is Iceberg in that Renault. So there he is, just seeing him at the bottom of the shot. We will see if he is able to close in the second half of the race. Popsu has managed to close in a bit, has he? I was looking at the time, he closed in a couple of tenths last time around. So it's yet again nip and tuck out the front. Actually, Adam Lexus is into the mid to low 39s as well. So he's showing some decent pace in his throw. And Nick Meadows 139.8 as well. He's what is he? He's about 7 tenths or so clear of Nesterowicz, 4th to 5th. So the Nesterowicz was quicker last time around by a tenth. So Nick Meadows could come under pressure yet again. There he is. So you can see how close that black Audi is. So he can't just relax and enjoy the rest of the race just yet. He has still some work to do.
Indeed. Oh, is that someone been challenged back there? That is Rick and Zal still taking that inside line. Does Zal have a run this time on the Audi? Yes, because of that overspeed with the turbo. He's got another run here, this time down the outside. And once again, Tish a little bit later on the brakes. Lamborghini getting very close as well. And Zal taking a better line through the corner, but Tisney's car is just in the way. Couldn't get the momentum that he wanted. The line was taken. And they remain as they are, but this is a really, really close three-way fight, and pretty much the only super close battle on the track at the moment, which is why we're kind of staying here for the time being.
Yeah, what a battle that is!
Yeah, certainly is. Oh, this looked like an opportunity for Zal. He was looking for that inside again, but just couldn't break late enough, and that's given him a. It's a tricky situation for Zal, really, because he wants to attack Tisney, but then if he puts himself on a bad line because he's trying to attack, then he is very much putting himself under pressure from the Lamborghini. And here we can see what that has resulted in. Has Rick managed to slow it down enough? Zal now on the outside through the chicane. Oh, and he thinks there wasn't too much room, but he's still a little bit alongside. But finally, Rick gets that position. Yeah, exactly. That's because this all started by Zal trying to attack Tisney, getting a bad exit on the corner. Rick taking advantage. That
started at turn 3 and ended at turn 10. Well, it was carried on really through 11 and 12, but Rick was already in the position ahead. So well played then by the Lamborghini. He certainly has the pace to continually challenge Zal. Let's see if he's got the pace to pull away from that Ferrari. But of course, that's given 1.2 seconds to Tidgney then. So he doesn't have to concentrate on the defensive line. He just has to worry about getting his car properly through turn 1. He's already lost 3 tenths against the Lambo though, and that again is the difference of power that the Audi is experiencing. And look at that, oh my goodness me, very early Rick went for that apex. I think it was probably more showing his intention to the Audi more than actually trying to commit to the apex that early. But that gap between the Audi and the Lambo has gone by at least half a second in just that one long straight and 2 corners.
Indeed, yeah. That's really spread things out here a little bit. But I'm sure Zal will not be giving up just yet. But yeah, it is the most spread out of the race, I think. Certainly since Tisney dropped into this fight, and she's now having his sights set. I mean, through all this, Tisney has still gained time on Andrex. He's now only just over 2 seconds behind the BMW. He was almost 4 only a few laps ago. So. Maybe Andrex is struggling a little bit because I think he's got slower than all the 3 behind. Apart from Zal, of course, last lap because he was being overtaken.
There was a lot of discussion actually on what tyres they were going to run. Some people felt it was kind of not enough for the hards to get hot enough, and it was too much for the softs to keep going. So we might see some pit stops. We might see some people. Like Andrex, I think, is actually running the hard tyres, so we might see him just kind of struggling on and seeing how he does. Jardier lost about, what did he lose last time? 6 tenths on Popsy last time around, but as you can quite clearly see, he has got himself enough breathing space. He doesn't have to worry about it too much for the time being. Still 25 minutes just under to go, so it's enough time for Popsy to get back into challenging for the lead. And Alexis again with 39.0. He really is getting into a brilliant he's right there with the leader's pace. He's unfortunately just 10 seconds down from them, so he's not unless the top 2 collide, which is entirely possible in a track like this. I think Alexis is going to be a little bit out of the lead fight, but it's going to be a well-earned podium nonetheless. If your hands are there, is Nick Meadow in the lead Nissan. He's still got Nesterowicz for company, but it's still, what is that? Jack gap's increased. It's now just over a second, 1.2 thereabouts. So it was Nick Meadow, just as we cut through, didn't get a good run into turn 13. So that will cost him a tenth or so.
Let's see now. Let's see what the lap times are, because I think Popsu is starting to close Jadier down quite significantly, at least the last 2 laps there. Let's have a look. So 1:09.6, 1:38, yeah. 7:10s now. Popsu is... I mean, Jadier's pace is slowing, so I think it's a mix of Popsu just keeping up a really good pace into the 38s, and Jadier going a little bit slower for some reason in the last couple of laps.
But this could be a tyre issue. It could be coming back to what we were saying before. If Jadier is actually running soft tyres and they are actually burning out, we might see him continue to struggle. I think Popsu didn't have a very good run there through turns 3 and 4, which put him very, very wide coming through that double apex right-hander. But if Popsu's running the harder rubber and Jadier the softer, this might actually start to come back to Popsu, because the harder tyre, for obvious reasons, has got the greater durability, but the extra grip from the softs, apparently, according to the drivers when they were trying them out, may not just go the distance. I may be completely wrong, and they may both be on softs or what have you. It does look like Jadier is beginning to fall off the pace a little bit.
Yeah, we can speculate all day long, really. It's hard to know exactly what the reason is, but you could certainly be onto something there. What we do know? Well, this lap so far, I think the gaps remain pretty much the same, so maybe Jadier sort of refocused himself for this particular lap. But yeah, Popsu is certainly doing a good job. He's not giving up. That's what we like to see.
Absolutely. He's that is something you couldn't always say for Popsu. He may have chased that yellow Ferrari for much of the season, but he has never, ever given up on chasing for that top spot. Let's see what the lap times were this time around. 39.1, 39.1. So just 0.02 of a second between the pair of them. There's that Alexis, and he's going to get himself a 39.2. So he's not far off the leader's pace yet again. Look at the gap he's got himself. He is perfectly equidistant between Popsu and Nick Mido. Nick Mido has built up a little bit of a gap between himself and that chasing black Audi. 39.6, 39.8 between the two. Fab Iceman, 38.9. Wow, that red Ferrari is showing some pace. He's quite a way down from the lead battle, but he has got leader's pace in that car at the moment.
Yeah, and you can see 5th place and 4th place not far ahead, and he's running certainly faster than those guys at the moment, so he will be looking to pick up some more places, I imagine. Yeah, of course, starting from the back of the field, he's had a really good race so far.
Yeah. If he can keep this up, we'll definitely want to have a good old chat to him in the com box afterwards. That's got to be one of the best position gain statistic for any stat hounds out there. I think we all are in some way, shape, or form. I certainly love a decent statistic. Fab Iceman getting a little bit squirrely through 10, 11 and 12. By and large, he's really beginning to bear down. And Nesteros will know that. Nesteros will know that red Ferrari has been getting bigger and bigger in those mirrors for quite a while. And it is still 1.2 as they come up to the last turn again. And this will be what Nick Mido wants initially, but he certainly won't want the Ferrari to get past the Audi.
Yeah. That's true. I think Nick Mido, if Iceman gets much closer on this, he'll be just praying for Nesterovich to put up a fantastic defense. I think, because the pace that Iceman is showing at the moment is really blistering. Let's see on this lap, he is once again down to 38.9, just like Jadier, and Popsu's down to 38.6.
Oh,
my God!
Wow, Popsu has come alive, and look at that. He is right with Jadier, very much so. It's the opening laps yet again. And of course, racing in neutral. That's the way to do it, kids.
Yep, definitely.
His best laps are 38.3? My God, looking at his display there. Wow, that's... okay, we haven't seen that lap time come up, but goodness me, that's a stunning effort then by the blue Ferrari. See on the speedo there, the kind of speeds they carry. It's not a very high speed track by and large, but again, Jadier went for that wider apex. I don't think it really helps, to be honest, because the stretch between 15 and 16 is so narrow. Popsu going for a more smooth apex. Jadier trying to get a faster exit from turn 16. Let's see how that helped them over the lap then. Popsy will be getting a little bit of slipstream, but not enough to make any real substantial difference, especially if, as I suspect, Popsy was running lighter wings than Jardier. 38.9, 38.7, that's another couple of tenths in Popsy's favour. This battle is starting up again. He's got another 18 and a bit minutes to go before we see the checkered flag.
Certainly. I saw in the chat someone wanting to bring up the speedo to see if that showed the tyre information, but it does not, unfortunately, seem to do that.
I don't believe there is a way of the interface telling us what tyres are on. If there is, I'm not aware of what it is, so we have to speculate on what they're actually running and how well they're burnt out.
So yes, that would be a useful thing to have, but
yeah, the drivers will obviously know what they put on, but they do have.
Wow.
They get that information in their interface. That is not something we can access as commentators, sadly. So no, we don't.
Drivers can't know what the other drivers are on either.
True. And again, does look like Popsy had a much better run through turns 10, 11, and 12. Oh, that blue Ferrari getting very slippery.
Really pushing.
Is that?
Just sliding through some of these courses. It's almost like, I mean, we're in Japan, so it's kind of appropriate to be drifting around. But yeah, I'm not sure. Popsy wants to drift as much as it looks like he does.
So where Andrix breaks out the Red Bull.
I mean, it's working for him at the moment, it would seem, so carry on.
I think he's gained another 10th this time around, just looking at the gap. Let's have a look once more. It's a 38.9, 38.8 is indeed a 10th between the pair of them. And again, looking in the background, it does look like, who do we see back there that's got company? Here's Nick Mido and Nisterowicz again. And Fab Iceman is right in there as well, so Nisterowicz is perfectly equidistant between the Nissan and the Ferrari. So this battle is going to get very, very juicy very, very quickly, I think. So
yeah, I think we had a three-way fight between... oh, good me, that just Tichnik's gotten past Andrek, actually.
He has. Wow, 7th position after falling down to, I think it was 13th or 14th that he fell to. So, again, a decent recovery drive for Tichnik. Andrex is right in that slipstream, though. He's not giving up. That's Rick right behind them. So, still haven't got out of the habit of saying Lemon Lamborghini, despite the fact that was last season and don't know how many weeks and months ago that was. So that Lambo is really trying to press on. Zal really has fallen away from this particular pack, unfortunately. So he may well have had a problem. Zal and Iceberg are not too far apart. That's about 8 tenths or so separating the Ferrari and the Renault.
Yeah, I was going to say, Rick, Zal and Tichnik is really spread out now. Snitcher is good wide, so that three-way battle seems to be done, but we are shaping up another three-way fight here with Nick Mido and there, which have been running pretty similar pace, to be honest, but Fat Iceman has been closing in on them quite rapidly, and now he is in a position to try and line up a move on the Audi ahead of him, and you can just see how close he's getting. And that's here. Now up the hill we go. Oh, he's already cutting underneath him. He doesn't even wait for the straight. He doesn't need the straight. Just take him in the corner. Why not?
Wow, what a drive that Red Ferrari had out of turn 16. And I don't think Nisterowicz was expecting that. He was nowhere near the defensive line for that corner. And again, why would he be? I doubt anybody could have seen that kind of drive out of there. And that is... oh, yeah, he was trying to turn in, but he couldn't. There was a wild Red Ferrari in the way. And that is 5th position to Fab Iceman. What a move. That was absolutely cracking. Our top two getting 138.7s. Jarnier just, what's that, 600s, just under quicker than his chasing Popsu. But that's only half a second between those two. So I think Popsu is on the charge again.
Indeed. Let's see. Kind of looking there. Popsu is really getting himself back into position, of course. Have we seen anyone legitimately pass the Jardier this season? That's a question.
That's a very good question.
I really remember.
I don't think we have. I think it has relied upon mistakes by the yellow Ferrari veteran, as opposed to, and again, I'm not meaning this in any disingenuous way. Jardier has shown some incredible pace. So that's, I think it's Colonel McCoy. We just saw it going out the bottom of the shot. So Jardier looking to lap his first victim. It's taken 3/4 of the race to get to that point, to be fair. Even with earlier accidents that we had. Let's see what Yaroslav Hosnik manages to get on the board this time. 38.7, 38.5 by Popsu once again. That's going to get a little bit closer into turn 1. So Popsu again chipping away at that ever so slight lead. And that was several seconds long a while back. So Popsu has been getting the pressure back on. And again, it's going to take a mighty mistake for Jardier to not be crowned champion here this evening, but it is still possible. 13 and a half minutes to go.
Yeah, that's the thing. Popsu just, he's got his one second penalty as well, of course, so it's going to be hard, but I think what Popsu just really needs to do, because Jardier needs to have a big problem. if Popsu, I mean, I don't think Popsu has too high hopes about the championship right at this moment in time. Considering Jardier, as we mentioned at the start of the race, he needs to finish outside of the top 13. And then Popsu to win for them to swap around at the top of the championship. But Popsu just needs to keep putting the pressure on, because the more pressure he puts, and at least that increases the chance a little bit, you would think, for Jardier to make that mistake and maybe hit a wall or something else. But certainly it's hard to see it happening.
We've seen races end on the final lap, irrespective of how well you've done leading up to that point. We've seen people throw it into the wall and lose a wheel. So it is still possible to do. And now Nick Meadow under all kinds of pressure. Look how quickly Fab Iceman in that Ferrari has closed in on that Nissan. He's going to try and defend it, but I don't think that Nissan's going to have the pace. And oh my goodness me, nearly side by side before they've even finished 15. He's now going to try an outside maneuver at 16. Now it's going to try and switch back. And again, look how much quicker off the back of that turn 16 that Ferrari was. And wow, that Nissan's got some... Look at that! Wow, that Nissan's...
got some pace!
He's made... My God! We saw this at... we saw this in the first round, didn't we? Where it was at Imola. Oh no, there was Imola last season we saw that with the Mercedes, didn't we? Where the Ferraris were getting in the slipstream. The Mercs just... When they started to open up the taps, they just ran off. Wowee! That probably caught Fab Iceman out somewhat, but the Nissan just gallops off. But with the pace that Fab Iceman's had, and let's again just check their lap times, 40.1 and 39.6. It's going to be very, very hard for Nick Meadow to continue to keep the Ferrari behind, but my goodness me, with that burst of speed he can deploy on that back straight, he's got a chance to do it.
Which really just suggests that, Iceman needs to do something in the corners there, in the middle part of the lap. Find some kind of surprise maneuver, or just get a really good exit somewhere. That straight line speed different, that is not going to help him. And that braking is also not going to help him.
No, that's going to give Nick Meadow a bit of breathing space, but I don't think for long, with how well Fab Iceman's been doing in these twisty bits. Not long indeed, he's already straight back on the Nissan's case. So he's, I think it's fair to say he's running a bit more wing than the Nissan. I was hearing of people running 0-0 wings. Again, coming back to the reason being is there's not really very many opportunities to use downforce. Oh, and the Ferrari again trying for an inside line at 16, but with that extra and there goes the Nissan. The Nissan launches itself away, and Fab Iceman's just got no answer at all for that pace.
The Nissan is great at drag racing, I think we have discovered here.
Yeah, it's just
the Ferrari doesn't have the Ferrari doesn't have bad straight line speed. The Ferrari is probably the most sort of balanced all-round car. I think that's sort of the impression that most people have. It's good in every way. It's not like a specialist in a certain aspect, but it's a really good all-rounder.
Oh, Popsu's had a problem.
But people like it. Oh no, Popsu, he's lost a fair bit.
They're coming through back markers. So that's where the shuffling of time has happened. Jardier's had an easy time getting past. That's Colonel McCoy and Tex Wheeler, who themselves have swapped round. The Audi jumping ahead of the Porsche. So that's where Popsu's lost that time. He's obviously caught these two at a slightly less convenient moment than Jardier did. Actually, I commentate on Yaroslav Honzik. I keep calling him Hosnik because I misread his name initially. I get to commentate on him in two different areas. One here and one for the Virtual GP League in the Czech Republic, where he's from, and that's Fab Iceman having a look at the inside of 15. He's got it done. Oh, Nick Meader went very, very wide. And again, I don't think he was expecting Fab Iceman to make such a bold move, but this is going to be
an exit.
That's what we're going to see, though.
Let's see, what does the Nissan have? This seems like a huge gap.
That's too big.
It needs to start catching very quickly, and it doesn't really do it. Here we go a little bit, but I think Iceman will have this move just about.
Oh, he felt
we need to go defensive.
Yeah, he felt the need to cover that inside line, because my God, when that Nissan got into its stride, it was like a missile gaining on that Ferrari. But now Iceman's got to use his opportunity. He's got to get on with it. He's got to get on with it now. He's got to rebuild. He's got to build that gap to the chasing Nissan enough just to outweigh the advantage on that straight. He's gone very wide. That's going to give Nick Meader an opportunity to get on the inside. No, not quite. How's that? Fab Iceman going for a faster exit out of turn 5. Oh, that's Nick Meader with a bit of lag. That confused me somewhat. Thought he was going to sail off into the dust then. And look at that. Nestero, it's now 1.5 seconds behind the pair. Bear in mind, these three weren't that far apart not too many laps ago.
Sansuke in the chat is reckoning that Alexis started on softs, and because of that he's suffering at the moment. So yeah, he's certainly dropping bits back towards Iceman and Ignido, not too much.
No, I mean he's still doing 39.4 last time around, so it's still fairly impressive laps that he's getting on the board. Even if he is struggling with the tyres somewhat. Popsu has got back within half a second of Jardier though, so that battle's resuming. Lap time 39.1, 38.3 by Popsu.
Holy moly.
Wow, he's done 38.3 again. So whether Jardier made a mistake or whether Jardier's run out of tyres, or, well, mind you, there's no other back markers near them. The next one down the road is Oblator, and the gap between Tex Weeder and beg your pardon, there's 2 Desert Pack. That's about 12 seconds of gap. So I don't think they've closed that down. So I think Jardier may well have made a bit of a mistake there, and that's allowed Popsu to get straight back on his case again.
Yeah, and back to the situation we had. Popsu though, it's going to be so hard to find any way through, isn't it? Because Jardier is just driving seemingly. I mean, of course, Popsu is a little bit faster. Jardier car just seems so stable, and he's just driving nice racing lines. He's, not giving Popsu really any opportunities to do any crazy lines to catch him out. So Popsu has to really find something special if he wants to get this done.
Absolutely, but also Jardier doesn't need to do anything silly. He doesn't really have to defend for Popsu at all.
No.
Yeah, bear in mind 13th. There, that much numbers need a minute down the road. That's currently occupied by Steve.
I'm sure he still wants to race win though, which of course he has had. He's had 2 bad weeks really. Of course, he only initially finished second at Zolder a couple of weeks ago, but of course he was one of the many drivers that got disqualified for track limit stuff. And then of course his mistake in Bathurst to finish 16th. So to finish off the season with and crown his championship with a win, I'm sure.
And he more than likely would have won Road America, where he was fighting Popsu yet again, until we had that mass server disconnect, sadly, that denied us the conclusion of what was shaping up to be an incredible battle once more between these two.
Yeah.
And, we can speculate about that one all we like. There we see.
Yeah, I guess at least it's kind of at the moment finishing a little bit like it ended. They're a bit finishing a bit like it started, as you say, for the season at Kota. When Jardier was running out in front. Popsu was then about 2-3 seconds behind throughout the race. The gap to everyone else was massive.
True.
And that's the same case now.
So next season confirmed will be Pro, Elite and Jardier tier. There's the Audi R2 Desert Pack just going out of the shot, so they will have another back marker to do. 4 minutes 20 remaining, so there is not a lot of time for Jardier to hold that position. Not much time for Popsu to do something about it. And still a little further down the list. Fab Iceman and Nick Media aren't too far apart either. There is Fab Iceman. He has opened up 1.1 seconds between himself and that Nissan. But one mistake could easily completely change that. As we've seen before, it does look like Nick Media hasn't quite got the means to keep in touch with the Ferrari. He's got the pace to kind of catch him, closing down a bit, but that gap has been steadily increasing since Fab Iceman got up into 4th.
He did a 140.4 last lap. Is that because that's when he passed?
No, probably either a mistake or a back marker, but both of them actually doing 39s. Actually, both of them did 39s last time around, and Alexa's with a 40.8. So, but he's 5
losing a second and a half. Yeah. That's
I mean, he's
huge.
But he's 5 seconds down the road, so he could easily back off and just bring the car home in that last podium position. Jardier.
Oh, here we go. Top 2 coming up to back marker.
Yep. So this is going to be all down to, and well timed then by 2 Desert Pack. He gets out of the way of the pair of Ferraris coming through, and that is not going to cost either of our leaders anything whatsoever. So well played there by 2 Desert Pack. Last turn once more. Popsy's gained a little bit, but again, not enough to mount a serious challenge. Just 2.5 minutes to go. That's going to be about 3 laps left.
Oh, yeah. Wow, already. I haven't even kept an eye on the timer. Oh, I was like, I actually been sitting here for a few hours. I hadn't really, and I wouldn't have noticed. But yeah, 2.5 minutes to go. It's not long at all. So Popsy is running out of time to force Jardier into a huge mistake that sends him onto Mount Fuji and beyond 13th place in the order here to get his championship. Or if he just wants to win, of course he needs to get past and pull a 1 second gap. That's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
To be honest, not only needs to get past, he also needs that 1 second because he did get track limit penalty earlier in the race. Unless,
of course, he chooses to contest it. We didn't see how he earned the penalty. He may have been avoiding a mistake or maybe trying to get around a back marker. We don't know. There are legitimate reasons for contesting a track limit penalty. Very, very close now. That's what 3/10 looks like in these cars. Of course, Jardier getting on the gas a little bit earlier as they come out of these few turns into 14 and 15. Again, I think just the way that I think that's more lag that makes the camera shake like that. I don't think Pops is fighting that badly with his car. As they come around turn 16, there's just over a minute to go, so this will be the final lap. And look at that, Jardier feeling the need to just make that defensive. He doesn't stick to it, so he knows that Popsy can't challenge immediately on that inside line. But this will be the final lap for this season in the PC Elite League. And let us see how it's going to play out. Who's going to take the top honours then? Is it going to be Jardier? He's got a little deep into turn 1. Popsy couldn't use that pace. As they got a pair of back markers, that'll be Olbertor and Relo. They are catching up to. They will, if they have to, jump out of the way. Neither of them really want to be tangled up in this particular battle, I would think. A long turn. Oh my goodness me, that caught Popsy out. Slightly unusual, but perfectly legal.
Go for it.
Yes, he is. There he goes. Oh! What a shame for Popsy.
Yes, I was surprised somehow the car behind is only one was lost out there. I wonder if there was a little bit of contact, but yeah, Popsy is getting all out of shape from just touching the back of Jardier a little bit. Jardir's car seemingly completely unaffected, but I mean, fair play to Popsy. At least he went for it. Unfortunately for him, it's not at all worked out.
He had no choice really. It was the next available opportunity he had, or the only really opportunity he had, unless he wanted to try an inside manoeuvre at turn 10. But with the way Jardier has been driving, it would have been a very difficult manoeuvre as well. But as they come around turn 16, there it is. He's not even bothering with the two guys ahead of him. He's just got to sprint all the way down to the line. He could even go into the pit. I thought he was going to go into the pits for a second there.
No, let's retire.
But there he is, the winner here at Fuji, your Season 9 champion, the yellow Ferrari of Jaroslav Honzik, otherwise known as Jardier. Second, once again, is Popsu. A very worthy drive, but this time just outgunned by Jardier. And 20 seconds down the road, fair effort by Alexis to keep it on the road, and a decent podium for him in the next Ferrari. There he is. He'll be quite happy with that, I'm sure. But a big shout out to the next one in line. There he is, Fab Iceman, last to fourth in this race. Then Nick Meadow in the Nissan. Great effort from him. Couldn't quite hang on to that fifth position, so he matches his best result of the season, but well driven nonetheless. Nesterovic and Tidney did get up to seventh in the end. There is Andrex, finished where he started in eighth position. He's happy with that. Over the line in the BMW, there is Rick in the Lamborghini. A brilliant effort by him as well. And a sideways, great move there by Andrex. And then is Zal rounding out the top 10 with Iceberg in the Renault. He's scoring more points today than he has done for most of the season in the Z4. So he will probably be quite happy with that. There is Van Orman. Not a great race for him, but he brings the yellow Ferrari home nonetheless. Steve, this is such an up and down season. That's one way to kill your car, sir. Steve, he's had a very mixed season, hasn't he? We've seen flashes of great driving, but just hasn't been consistent in that red Ferrari. Here's Rito and Obertor still fighting.
Rito is going to get it just about with lots of damage in the front of his car. Is he going to get it? Oh, no!
Yes, he did. By I think 300ths of a second was all that separated the pair of them. Just have a quick look at that. There was about 3, 4, maybe 500ths of a second separating them. But there it is, the final confirmation. Jardier, Popsu, Ad Alexis, Iceman, Nick Meadow, Nesterovic, Tisney, Andrex, Rick, and Zal round out the top 10.
Wow. What a race.
Absolutely.
To be honest, there was always some battling going on, and those first 5 or so laps is some of the best racing I've seen, really. Yeah, fantastic stuff. And of course, really well done to Jardier on the championship. So deserved, really. He's got, let's see how many wins that was then. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins out of 10 for Jardier. 1 second place, 1 DSQ, and 1 16th.
Wow.
Popsu did manage to grab 2 wins, still 2 wins away from Jardier, and then Tisney has the final race win of the season. But yeah, Jardier, I mean, he's been mostly untouchable. Popsu has touched him a few times, but apart from that, he is certainly really impressive champion.
Indeed. So we have Jardier, we have Tidney in the ready-to-interview box as well. Popsu is... And I'm just going to ask Popsu and Iceman if they want to have a chat with this, because I particularly want to talk to Iceman. Again, no disrespect meant to all of us. Oh, he's put himself in the ready to interview box. Fantastic. Hopefully Popsu puts himself in there as well. Let's grab these guys over. Usually interrupt the conversation they are having, and all 3 of them are quiet. You disappoint me, gentlemen, but never mind. Let us speak to our newly crowned champion, Jaroslav Honzik, otherwise known as Jardier. Honzik, I will get your surname right one day. I'm forever getting it wrong. I corrected myself earlier and still managed to get it wrong. Newly crowned champion, what an incredible season for you. How are you feeling, sir?
Thank you, Kodiak. I'm feeling absolutely awesome as usual. And I enjoyed the race, absolutely. Enjoyed everything about it. And I'm absolutely super, super excited.
I bet. What a great run for you. So, I mean, when you came into the season, did you have any idea of how your season was going to go? Were you confident that you would be towards the front, or were you just kind of doing it and finding out?
Sorry, I was pretty interested about to see the pace about the other guys, but as soon as I seen the guys like Popsu, Iceman and stuff, I knew it's gonna be a tough season, like fighting Popsu, Iceman, Omen, and people like that. So I was pretty looking forward for that, and I absolutely enjoyed that. Even with slightly problems like after Zolder and stuff like that, I absolutely enjoyed the whole season, and it was absolutely amazing. I think the competition was absolutely perfect, and I'm very happy that Popsu joined the season, because he was absolutely giving me a hell whole season, and he was trying to push me. And even though I wasn't like at the best, I'm very satisfied with the results.
Great stuff. Tidney, thank you for joining us in the commentary box. Bit of a mixed race for you, but a solid result nonetheless. How are you feeling?
All right, to be fair, because like usual, I didn't practice that much, and this time I actually had a championship race before it as well in another game.
Oh, wow.
So I literally did that. I had food and legged onto this as fast as I could. So yeah, I think it went all right. I was surprised at how good the Audi was here, actually. So I need to eat my own words on the forum a little bit.
Incredible run. Right, there's quite a few people that want to have an interview, so we're going to fly through them. Fab Iceman, what a drive for you. What a cracker. Towards the back and then finishing in 4th. What a cracking run for you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I would have loved to finish on the podium, to be honest. But 4th is still a great result. It was a super hard fight with Niki Mido and also with Nestorovic. Was absolutely amazing. I really enjoyed that.
Awesome stuff. I mean, I was keeping an eye on your progress, and every time I looked at you, you were up yet another place. Were you sort of confident in getting towards the top 3 if you'd had a better start? Do you think?
You mean championship-wise, or
both?
I mean, maybe I had a chance on P3 this race if I would have not made so many mistakes here and there. And for the championship, I was DNFing one round. That was very unlucky, and I also missed Bathurst. So I think it would have been a nice fight for the 3rd place between Tidney and me. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe next season.
Excellent stuff. Right, I'm going to grab the other guys that are in the ready to interview box. And right, let's see who we've got. Andrex, another solid result for you in the BMW. How was the season overall for you, sir?
The second half was actually really good. I think I probably put in a little bit more practice time, and I maybe got the setup a bit sweeter. But yeah, no, the second half was really good for me, to be fair. I was getting semi-decent qualifying and just solid results.
Were you disappointed that I was commentating?
No, I would rather have you there, even at my expense.
Very good of you, sir. Nick Mido, what a run in the Nissan. You must be delighted with that.
Well, yeah. Felt quite good, to be honest. Especially after last week, where it didn't work out that well for me. But yeah, I mean, I didn't feel like I have that good pace. I mean, I was driving like every race, but somehow was in the top 5 today, not top 15 as normal.
I mean, we saw you fighting with Iceman, and we were just watching you just run away, even though the Ferrari had you in the slipstream. He had no answer. You were just running off down the straight. So were you confident of that extra pace you had along the straight before the race, or was that again a bit of a surprise to you?
No, absolutely. That's where the Nissan gets its lap time, really on the straight. And also, my setup was on full straight line speed, so I knew if I can defend, it will be on the start-finish straight. And yeah, if he will overtake me, that's my only chance to get the place back. But yeah, he did a really well overtake, and congrats to him. It was a good race and a good battle.
Awesome stuff. Right, Rick, we haven't really had much of a chance to speak to you throughout the season. You've been a fairly consistent Lamborghini runner. How's the season gone for you?
Well, first of all, it's really nice to end the season, with a positive note. This is, I think, my second best result in the season, and I'm quite happy. I put really a lot of preparation in this race because, as you probably know, high elevated tracks are not Lambo's favorite. So I really had to do a lot of hours on the setup to actually be competitive, but it did pay out. Yeah, I'm quite happy.
Excellent. And finally, Iceberg, you rather surprised me. I wasn't aware that you'd swapped cars before the race. I was like, that's a Renault down there. But what a result for you. Ditching the Z4 for the Renault was quite a decent choice, it would seem.
Yeah, definitely. I just had enough G4 on the first 9 races. The Bathurst was just a disaster, really. And I just thought that maybe if I want to have a decent car for the last race and try to show what I can do with a decent car. What I could have maybe done this season if I would have chosen a different car.
Oh, what might have been, as they say. We are going to wrap it up at this point. That is the conclusion.
Hang on.
Fire away, Mr. Fizzy.
Yeah, I'm trying to very quickly sort of update the championship standings. So I'm going to try and just give a very final update on at least the top 10, maybe. So Jarder gap in the end, 33.5 points down to Popsu for the championship win. So very solid there. Tidney in third is 47.5. He was 14 further off Popsu, and then 30 further points down to Iceman, who gets fourth in the championship. Andrex in fifth, holding on to that as he was before the race. Norman and Nasarish staying in sixth and seventh. Then Zal moves up to eighth with his ninth place today. Tedesabak dropping to ninth. And Alexis gets the final top 10 position. And our reigning champion, Vernox, who unfortunately missed 4 races this season, he finished in 11th at the end. Nick Mito, mentioning you as well, since you're in the commentary box, you are in.
Thank you. But I don't have points. I think I'm in the top 10.
Oh!
Mistake,
Wait a minute.
I'm not sure. I haven't calculated.
So, should you be higher then, maybe? Let's. So, where did you finish again?
Fifth.
Remind me.
5th.
Wow! Okay, I've certainly done something stupid with my brain. Let me get everyone down and then stick Nick Meader up into 5th place. And then you shall gain some positions, I think.
I was close to Alexis, I think, before this race.
Oh yeah, you're going to get Alexis indeed. So you're up to into the top 10. So yeah.
What a way to finish the season.
And that's it, of course. For those who want to watch the full championship standings later, they can go onto the AOR forums. And for those of you who want to join in for season 10, also head on to the forums. There will be, I'm sure there will be news on it at some point in the next few weeks. And there will also be a shorter touring car season, I believe, in the break between the GT3 seasons. So for those who want to do that, you can get involved.
Indeed, a 4-week filler season is going to be in between this season and the next. But until then, it just leaves me to thank those that have been with us throughout the stream. It's always a great pleasure to commentate for you guys. Thank you very much to our drivers for putting on an incredible show all season long. It has been a great pleasure to commentate for you guys. As always, thank you, Fizzy, for putting up with me in the box. It has been a great pleasure. As always, good sir.
Yeah, it's not been too hard to put up with you. You're talking all the time, so that's certainly helping me out. And yeah, it's been great being alongside you, and hopefully we shall meet again.
I'm sure we will. This concludes the season then, so usually about 6 or 8 weeks between this and the next. So as Fizzy says, keep an eye on the forums. If you want to get involved, you may have crazy people like us shouting about your on-track antics. But until then, we will see you back here for more AOR action. Thank you very much, and good night.